Now, I got a top 5. My top 5 is Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. What?
Not that order.
Not the order.
Oh, not in order.
Okay.
Not in order. But Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, and then if I'm being objective, I'll put LeBron in there. But for me, my 5 is Allen Iverson and Shaquille O'Neal. It's just hard to rank AI because AI didn't win any championships.
Yeah, but the way that he affected the game.
Come on, man.
I wonder if we should have a different list which is not like the greatest in terms of winning, but the greatest in terms of changing the game and affecting the game.
Oh, that's easy.
Okay, so go
Easy
5
call.
on that.
Magic Johnson.
Now, I wasn't really alive for Magic's impact on the game. Like, I know AIDS Magic. I don't really know like Magic.
No,
And I mean that sincerely. Like, I knew him as like a guy who had or HIV or sorry.
Yeah.
But like, I knew him at that part of his career, and at that part of his career, it wasn't as like majestic as the videos you see where he's like running down fast breaks and doing these no look passes. Like, we saw him like kind of backing guys down, and I don't know. It just didn't look as crazy.
I was born in 1978. I don't remember everything vividly. Like, I remember probably what you're saying. I remember.
I also don't remember Bird really, to be honest with you. Like, I remember Bird, him, but
I remember Bird's in because he was retiring. I remember Magic's first 2 or 3 years before they played the Bulls in the championship. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I remember that. I remember those games. But
I mean, the thing with Magic, and it seems crazy to say it now, is at his size, 6'9".
That's right.
They put
you just never
down low.
saw anything like
They put
that.
you down low. You weren't allowed to touch the ball.
Yeah.
You weren't allowed to dribble on
That's
the
right.
perimeter.
Yeah.
He's individually
revolutionized the point guard
changed
position.
everything.
Okay, so this is really cool. So again, in context, what we're talking about is how people change the game of basketball and the culture around basketball. Not necessarily how many championships they've won. So you guys are saying Magic, when he came in, he basically made it okay for taller guys
To play point guard.
to play point
Absolutely.
and be elite passers.
Absolutely.
So he changed the game in that regard.
I've only seen 4
For what?
that changed the game of basketball.
Okay.
In my lifetime. I can
Okay.
only speak for my lifetime.
Okay.
Magic Johnson.
Yep.
Michael Jordan.
Okay.
Steph Curry.
Yep.
And Shaquille O'Neal.
Okay, so for me, okay, this is Shaquille. I think Shaq is one of the greatest players of all time. I think he's undeniably top 5. But in terms of change the way people play the game, I don't put him there because only Shaq could play in that way, and nobody else could play that way because he was just such a physical presence.
He kind of is like the new generation of the big guys we see now. He was skilled, nowhere near as skilled as the big guys you see now. But when you're 7'3", 320, and you can get a rebound and then dribble the length of the court.
Yeah, I guess.
And dunking on the other end, and he was a great passer.
Oh no, he was unbelievably talented. No, it's just he was a physical anomaly.
I've never seen anything like that in my life, yo.
And I think a lot of times for the guys who change the game of basketball, they aren't necessarily the physical anomalies, right? They play the game in a way that you want to play. And none of us can do what Shaq does because we're not 7'1", 320 pounds.
If the game hadn't moved out of the paint and gotten more on the perimeter, there'd be a lot of people playing like Shaq. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think we got to see the next generation of Shaquille's because of the way the game changed.
I was talking to a comedian. She also has a podcast. Her name is Erica Sparrow, right? And she played hoops, I think, in college. And but she was talking about the female game because I was like, yo, I think Steph Curry made the WNBA watchable. And she goes, what do you mean? And I go, the way that NCAA, what was that white girl?
Caitlyn Clark, baby.
The way that Caitlyn Clark was playing was a very digestible form of basketball. Usually the game of basketball is played at the rim, right? You have guys jumping, dunking, going crazy. But now this girl out of nowhere is playing like Steph, and it was still digestible. It got some crazy ratings. 7 million people watched a women's basketball game, whatever. They still lost, regardless. I was like, if women are playing behind the 3-point line and hoisting up and shooting, I think guys will start to watch it in the same way where like guys will watch tennis, where it's like the game is reflective of the men's game, but there's just longer volleys and you can still watch it. If we're playing the game at the rim, you just can't watch men's basketball and women's basketball and expect the same thing. They just can't do it. But she had an interesting point. She goes, the women's basketball will always be played at the rim because when you're a big woman, if you're a girl who's 6'6", there's so few 6'6" women out there that if there is one in the game, she absolutely dominates. It's almost like Shaq.
like Angel Reese.
And who won the game?
Wilson.
Who won the game?
Like Aaliyah Boston. Yeah.
So it's like, so she's like, until there's enough height to combat what happens in the post, the game really won't move outside of it. But when it does, I'll watch these girls throw up threes like that little Caitlyn Clark girl did.
Let the record fucking show. I told y'all before the Women's Final Four to watch the goddamn Women's Final Four. Right. Those women were fucking balling, man. Yeah. The LSU Tigers. And I just been into women's basketball a lot over the past few years because of what's been happening in South Carolina. You know what I'm saying? So like watching Dawn Staley and Asia Wilson, that's my wife's alma mater. That's what got me into women's basketball. I've been watching these girls, man. I told y'all specifically watch Caitlyn Clark. Yeah. These girls be balling.
It's just a very digestible form of basketball that's super similar to the male form that we really like.
And they're scoring points. You got girls scoring over 100 points a game.
Exactly. But we don't need to see layups. That's boring.
And they be dunking.
They don't even need to do that. They just need to launch.
They be dunking, bro. There's a girl in South Carolina. I can't remember her name right now. She dunks. She dunked like twice in a game.
Yeah. Well,
how the fuck did we get here?
People who changed the game. Okay. So Allen Iverson. I'm not saying he's the first person to go to the basket. I'm not saying the first person to be nice with crossovers.
Oh, no, you're right.
But the way that he played the game made everybody, at least when I was growing up in New York, it was like the game is played at the rim. You get to the rim. You go up against anybody. You throw your shoulder in their fucking chest. You hang there. You try to lay it up.
Fuck, I forget about AI. No, you're right, because AI breed the Dwayne Wades, the Derrick Roses, the Russell Westbrooks. Yep. That's AI. Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie is what is the term you always use? A gremlin off of AI's back or whatever.
Huh?
You know what I mean? Like, what do you always say?
A gremlin that got wet. Yes, if AI was a gremlin who got wet, Kyrie would pop off.
Exactly.
Yes.
So in terms of like literally changing the way that people played the game, Steph, in terms of everybody just started shooting threes after Steph.
Everybody.
Like big guys, small guys, everybody. Yep. Michael Jordan, just in terms of sheer athleticism, physicality, and like playing the game at the rim as well.
Can I give an honorable mention?
Go.
Tim Hardaway Jr. pre-injury.
That little killer crossover?
First person who really did a cross.
That killer crossover,
one of the biggest parts of the game now was crosses.
I'm not going to lie. He definitely was there. You know who else I would say? I know this is wild, maybe, but literally I saw the way that people looked at the game change. Jason White Chocolate Williams. The way that he made passing cool. Right? Like I saw... Back in the day, it was like, it's one-on-one, move out the way, I'm crossing you over, I'm getting to the cup, I'm talking shit. And when he started making passing and behind-the-back passes and no-look passes, cool, I saw at the park, like we were playing, like I saw people starting to do that and like incorporate it in their game.
Well, see, I look at it the other way.
Okay.
I thought Jason was a person who kind of took the N1 mixtape Rucker Park game and did it professional. I feel like he got that from them. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Listen. There's plenty of people that have done it before him, but I'm talking just like there's plenty of people who have done crossovers maybe before Tim Hardaway, but doing it at the highest level is going to be what is influential.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and like...
That's why I think a lot of those N1 players, when they came into the league, they weren't able to do that. They
couldn't do it at the highest level.
The refs would call it on them all the time.
Or they just like, there was Skip to My Lou, was who he played for the Heat or whatever
They'd call traveling every time. The only reason I think they didn't do it for Jason because he's white. I like to throw racism at everything. I'm sorry, guys.
Anyway, in terms of influence in the game, I'm trying to think who else.
I mean, I didn't even think of Jason Williams. I'm not mad at that.
You could also give Dr. J an honorable mention because dunking really wasn't part of the game.
Yeah, 100%.
Him and David Thompson were the first two guys.
He dunks like a WNBA player now, in hindsight.
I mean,
in hindsight, go look at some old Dr. J.
Look at the ABA
now,
clips, though, not the Sixers. Look at the ABA.
I'm trying to think who else.
Dominique, same thing.
See, it's hard to give it up to the human, and I love Dominique, but it's hard because Michael Jordan was in the league. You know what I mean?
Well, here's the other thing you got to think about in terms of changing the game, right? Is like you have a guy. It's like the way that you play has to affect the way other people play. And like a guy like Tim Duncan, who is incredibly successful, undeniably amazing. Everybody would want him as team. You would not want to play the game like him.
Oh no, Dr. J dunking the funk out. He dunking the funk out that shit.
Yeah, Dr. J was that dude, bro.
Show him dunking.
I think you could honorable mention is Dennis Rodman. So for the players who weren't as offensively skilled, that was the role that you could be. Yo, I'm the hustler.
The rebounds and defense.
Yeah. I don't know if I can give him that.
Bro, there were so many players like you'll just pick him up because you'd be like, oh, he's lockdown defense, he's rebound, he's hustle, and then you get to just
but Dennis came from a team that was all about that. The Pistons, like the Pistons had about 5 of those type of guys.
Yeah, but I think
John Sally,
but Dennis
Bill Laimbeer.
Dennis made it cool where it's like we knew he couldn't score, but he's still starting 5, and we putting him out there just because his hustle made up for it.
But dude, I'm saying the Pistons had a bunch of those. I think Dennis learned that playing in Detroit. I mean, he was an Energizer Bunny in Detroit too. Don't get me wrong, but he comes from a long line of those type of people because of the Pistons. I love Rodman though. I don't see anybody. I'm not mad at the Rodman thing. Who's the closest thing to Rodman in the league now? Draymond, right?
Yeah,
I would say Draymond. All right. I don't know how this became the All the Smoke podcast, but